Hello, everyone, and great evening to you. I am super excited to be live with you this evening. I hope that we have such a stunning time together. Please let me know in the comment section if you are on board, if you can see me and hear me. I am so delighted to be here with you this evening. So let me know how it's looking on your side. I am just so excited to welcome you this evening to the second part of the webinar that we had on Monday. We were looking at the 10 limitations or disempowering your limitations. And on Monday, we started out with looking at the 10 enemies of our significant life. And we are getting set to move on into the signposts of our significant life. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to every single person this evening. I'm hoping that everyone who joined us who joined us on Monday, will be able to join us again today because you guys were such an amazing audience on Monday. I had such an extraordinary time with you, and I'm just pumped about this evening. It's going to be great. It's going to be a very beautiful time together, and I hope that we're able to, learn together, grow together. Thank you for all the beautiful, kind comments that are coming through in the comment section. Thank you so much. I am very pumped, very pleased, very excited. I am looking forward to what we're going to do together this evening. It's going to be really great. So definitely big welcome to you. Thank you so much for diving on board. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, welcome. I am definitely going to start with the feedback from Monday. What was the experience like for you? I'm going to not look at Fumi, Ayowole, Tomisin Balogun, and all the things, Ejiro. I'm just going to be serious. I'm not going to look at your comments. I'm just going to try to be serious this evening. But I want us to start off with the feedback that you have from Monday's experience. What stood out for you? What did you love the most about Monday? What did you immediately start to think about working on? And yeah, I just want to know that. So please share with me what you've taken away from Monday's session and what you already see yourself doing with it. If you become more aware just because of the conversations that we had on Monday. Have you become aware? Do you feel like I really have to make a difference in the way that I do life, in the way that I approach, different areas of my life? I want to read that from you before we go ahead. Thank you, Sarah Ubana. Very, very delighted to have you on board this evening. Welcome, Tara, Ejiro Ebo, Tomisin Rokewe, Coach Nene Oludolapo, Mary Aibogun, Ido Tehila, my sounding board. Thank you so much for being on board. MJ, welcome, welcome. Omobola Jidali, welcome. So pleased to have you. Dana, thank you and welcome. Abisola Fashuhomi, Wemimo, and Shion Bangbadi, you are really welcome. Okay, so my big sis is in, and Shaya says for her, she's working on being deliberate about different categories of relationships. I like that very much. I like the sound of that, and I'm excited to see that you're already making the needed adjustments. Okay, Cry Soldier Fitness Girl Fitness says spending time understanding me, doing personality tests, etc. Okay, Ejiro says it feels like it has reached default level, but I shall overcome. That is fantastic. Illumination is the beginning of any type of transformation. Illumination is the beginning of any type of transformation. So even if you feel like, man, these things that DDK is speaking to, sound like I've already, they become my default, you can definitely recreate on purpose by design. Welcome, 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 everyone who's joining us. So glad to have you. I like it that you're now saying, Adriel, that you are trying to unlearn the practiced indifference, but it's been really hard. Hopefully, some of the things we will share tonight might become helpful, but for sure, you will definitely need to take a longer term approach to till you really begin to see the changes that you're looking for in those different areas of your life. So for sure, it can be a tedious journey, but of course, wisdom can help you triumph whatever limitations there are currently. Olaide Ululoye, oh, so good to have you here this evening, says that she's breaking free from over emotionalism. I like that very much, and that's definitely a commendable journey to growth. Okay, Thomason says Monday was a deliverance for me. I couldn't sleep. I was up for 4 hours working. It was a shift. There was so much light and clarity. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad to serve you in that way. Ogone, my beloved, says, I started thinking about practiced indifference in my life. I used to believe I shouldn't have a lot of expectations from people, but the light you shed on it got me thinking a lot. Omobolaji says, working on stretching to higher dimensions and I will stop fixating on my weaknesses. I like that. Wemma says, the last life, scales fell off. Looking forward to tonight and the next step. Yeah, Jane, accurate. That's it. Illumination is always the beginning of any type of transformation. So the moment we start to see ourselves and we start to embrace new realities, we start to understand in a new way, we start to gain a new lens or a new perspective, the likelihood that we're going to grow and we're going to transform is higher. Okay, Iberkarewaji says that the work is mine to do. Nobody has my remote in their control. Wow. Okay. Rikewa says for her, it's finding a way to build a system that works for her and her family. Okay. Uluwakim says, I'm working on a culture of no excuses. So good. Nene says, I've become more conscious about breaking my goals into habits and engaging my relationships with renewed energy. I love that. Bamike, my sister, says, I'm working on higher dimension. That will be on my higher dimension and focusing on my strength. I love how that sounds very, very much. So well done. I'm excited about every single one of you and super pleased to see the kind of conversations we're going to have tonight, the kind of growth we're going to experience tonight, the kind of light that is going to shine on our hearts. Permit me to make a second proper welcome for everybody who's joining us, as well as for everyone who's going to be watching the replay after tonight. You are welcome to this webinar hosted by Immerse Coaching Company. We are a 40,000 strong tech-driven coaching community in 99 countries, and we are currently preparing for a very significant thought leadership conference hosted by an organization called Live Away Conference, and it's the biggest thing happening on the continent as far as personal development and coaching is concerned. And if you are able to join us, that would definitely be a great thing. All through today, you would find the link to register for the website, to register for the conference for free on this screen. And I hope that you are going to take that action. It's definitely going to be very, very helpful. So we've got a first version of this webinar. It held on Monday, and you would find it on our channel. So you can definitely go over to watch part one, because it's going to give such a strong context to some of the conversations that we're going to be having today. Okay, Ebon says, I'm strategically positioning myself to overcome possibility blindness. So good. Princess says, I have actually been running from my vision because it was so scary to me, but after the last live session, it became real and possible. I'm super excited for you. Okay, so welcome every single person. We are going to step into the conversation for today. But before we do that, I want you to describe an epic shift for me. I would love a number of people to just share with me, maybe 5 of us, Just share with me what an epic shift would look like in your life. What would an epic shift look like in your life? What do you think about when you hear an epic shift, like a significant movement, right? That is grand in scale. If your life were to shift into the future of your dreams, what would be at least one signpost? What would be at least one, you know, one obvious proof of that growth, of that shift? What would that look like for you? I'm just curious, and I'll be super excited if you shared with me what an epic shift meant to you. What does an epic shift mean to you? What does an epic shift look like for you? I like it. Temi Tayo Adewale says, an epic shift for me would be an ability to set a goal and ace it successfully. I like that very much. So for you, it's definitely personal mastery. It's the ability to set a goal and actually go ahead and accomplish it. That is going to be an epic shift for you. I like how that sounds, and that's definitely super achievable. I like it that you have your expectations in a really positive, direction, because for sure goal setting is such a fundamental part of a successful life. It's a fundamental part of a significant life. Tara says, systems that effectively carry my various expressions so I can be whenever I choose to. I love it. So I can be whenever I choose to. And that is such a great thing. That means you're sort of saying you want to ascend, right? And that's like an inside joke or an inside gist for those who are in Unbundling 2020. You want to ascend. You want to create room in your life for things to continue to run when you want to step back and just be, right? And that's a beautiful one. Sarah says an epic shift for me would be an excellent management of my time to completely achieve set goals within the time frame, and that's really beautiful. Omobolaji says an epic shift for me would be to rise to the degree of the calling over my life. Somebody is giving it to me word for word, okay? Pell says a shift for me is a change in my outcomes in the direction of my vision. Okay, that doesn't say much, but that's also fine. Esuku Ile says an epic shift for me would be generating the energy required for executing ideas as they drop. Okay, I like that. Hadassah says an epic shift would be a full awareness and expression of all her possibilities. Adenike says it will be harnessing her strength to achieve her dreams, not just career-wise, but in every area of her life. Okay? Sarah says it will be to become one of the leading thought leaders within the elderly care sector. Wow. Moji says launching the multiple business ideas I have within the next 1 year. Okay. Omolara Faumi says it will be to succeed in the new business that she has. Ejiro says it will be moving into her full expression without limits. Idowu says it will be speaking as a diplomat representing African youth on rewriting the script of the new Africa, starting with Nigeria. I love it. Bamike says an epic shift for me would be to ascend into a dimension where all my expressions are producing results on all global scale. Okay? Tomisa says an epic shift would be consistently closing the gap between where I am and where God wants me to be. Juliana says it will be to be able to do all I've been called to do, balancing all and executing all simultaneously and excellently without feeling overwhelmed or trading my time with God. That's so great. Tom Brass says it will be to start to live out her multi-influential flows and create solutions. Ogone says it will be to hold a master class on the Live Away Conference 2021. Oh gosh, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to feature in your dream. Mutraya says it will be to create a system around her life that allows her to express her multi-dimensional self with balance. So I think it could just be great to start off talking a bit about um, the multi influential, multi gifted, multi passionate life, because interestingly, I'm finding a number of responses coming through that speak to just the freedom to be multi influential, multi dimensional, and to release all those things that are on your inside and those expressions within you and those flows without being held back, right? And I have Mutrayo actually describing it this way: to create systems in my life that allow me to express my multidimensional self with a balance. Um, and I've had one or two persons talk about just, yeah, ascending where into a dimension where all my expressions are producing results on a global scale. And it could just be, you see, and it will says an epic shift would be to have an undeniable results, to have undeniable results in all my expressions. So I can hear expressions coming out. I can hear multiple dimensions coming out. And I just feel like it would be great to sort of start the conversation this evening with that, even though we will then go on to cover a few other exciting thoughts that we want to look at tonight. So let's start a bit with the multi-influential life. A person who is not a one talent visionary, right? And that's a great thing. That's not you. Nobody has to shame you for being a multi gifted person. And most of us have multiple streams flowing out of us, but it just depends on how strongly conditioned you become, because society can sort of try to shame you, saying that you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. Are you confused? Is it only you? Are you trying to do everything? So all of those um, objections in society, objections from friends, objections from family, and the tussle to choose safety over significance actually makes a lot of people become straitjacketed. So they just try to fit themselves into a career or a business, and they keep quiet, or they don't even do all of that and focus on just one area of passion, and that could even be parenting. And they just say, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and that is okay. But whenever you find yourself looking at multiple things and always having streams of counsel flowing to you, that might be signaling to you that you actually are multi gifted, right? So some people are extremely creative and they have brilliant insights about what is possible, about what can be done. You see about how the future can be shaped. And it's possible that your voice has been quietened just because of society, because of what your parents said to you, what your friends said to you, whatever labels, then sort of made you start to feel you are confused, or you're trying too hard, and then you started to back off, right? But we are in the time when there is a liberty coming to the multiplicity of your flows. And that's at the heart of what I've been sent to teach, what I've been sent to show, to model, and what I've been sent to empower other men and women, particularly women, to step into. So don't ever forget that if you are a not one talent person, if you're a multi pathway person, a multi gifted, multi passionate person, if you choose to just be one thing, that would be a very sad disservice to yourself, disservice to humanity, and disservice to God, right? So it's really important for you to know that what God has put on you is a sacred trust. He's hoping that your thank you to the giftings He has put on you would be for you to rise and let it flow, right? But I want to say to you a few things about how to navigate the discovery that you are a many sided person. It's important to navigate the discovery that you're a many sided person, right? It is called responsible stewardship of your multi influential life. You could have a multi-influential life and you could be like, I'm liberated. Nobody should tell me I should be just one thing. I want to go be the many things that I was born to be, right? And that's a positive, powerful energy. But if you don't channel that energy with wisdom, you could actually get into trouble. You could actually be knocked off. You could be accidented in that sense. You could then have experiences that take you off completely because you now feel discouraged, and it gives people an opportunity to sort of say, you failed and all of those things. And then they worsen the challenge that comes with carrying multiple gifts. So if you are gifted in many dimensional way, you need responsible stewardship. And stewardship is produced by wisdom. It's what you know that empowers you to carry what you have well. So let's have that conversation just a little bit, and then we will get on into the heart of tonight's conversation, right? So if you don't embrace responsible stewardship of your multi-dimensional, multi-influential life, it's possible for you to get into discouragement, and it's possible for you to make mistakes that you definitely did not need um, to make. So there is a whole conversation around this that sits in Unbundling 2020. And I really encourage, if you can, to consider getting into Unbundling 2020. It's literally about unbundling the decade and becoming a force on the earth. Anyway, I'm going to share with you a few things that you should pay attention to. Um, the first thing you should pay attention to is you've got to understand your core. In the midst of your multiple giftings, in the midst of your multiple expressions and multiple flows, there is very likely going to be a core, which is your strongest platform, your strongest expression, and what you may call the mother matrix. So I'm going to write that out. It could be what you call the mother matrix, right? And the mother matrix may then be what you use. It may then be the core purpose, the core mandate, the core passion, and you use your different expressions to serve that core. And I'm talking about understanding your core, not core, your core, right? So it's important for you to understand your core. Let me see if I have it now and I can show you. Yes. So it's important for you to understand your core of all the different things that you can do and flow out of you, and passions that you carry, capacities that you carry, expressions that you carry. There is a core, and it will now mean that that core oftentimes becomes a fuel for the sub expressions, the sub matrix, right? If you understand the core, it will now have a capacity to even power your other expressions. And what you may find is if you recognize your core, people who are beneficiaries of your core expression also begin to flow in the direction of your other expressions. They start looking out for you in your other expressions because they're just like, I got so blessed interacting with this person at their core expression. Then there's got to be more coming from there. Do you understand this? So it's possible, for example, that a person is a minstrel. A person is a minstrel. A person also is sensing that they are an equiper. So they want to teach, coach, mentor, disciple. So they're an equiper. They know they can pass knowledge that changes other people. So they're a minstrel, they're an equiper, and then they are even discovering that they do have a passion for business, right? Maybe they have a passion for the fashion arena, and they're trying to sort of be entrepreneurs in the fashion arena. So they can see that that is also there. This same person is a wife, is a mom, and maybe is even in the academia trying to get themselves a PhD because they want to advocate for, an end to child slavery. Those are different expressions. And in the past, people can look at you and be like, come, you have to choose one. What's this thing you're doing? Because under equiper, it's possible that they're even speaking, it's possible that they are coaching, they are even authoring books under that equiper expression. So that's some 8 things happening over there. They might discover as they build the knowledge, as they build self mastery and they build self knowledge and they build self recognition, right, under the limelight of God's instruction and leadership and discovery of their innate capacities, they could discover that primarily the biggest passion, the biggest pulsation is being a minstrel, right? So that could be the core of who they are and of how they are sent to change the world, right? So here's what I'm saying to you. If you are multi-gifted, multi-passionate, the first thing you might find, 90%, I believe it's all the time, but I don't want to be presumptuous. So a significant amount of time, people who are multi-gifted or many-sided will find that there is a core. If you was to know the mother matrix or the core is number one for what God says clearly to you. This is what I want you to do. This is who you are, the name you've been called consistently by God. That could help you. Number two, where your greatest passion lies. And by passion, I don't mean just what you are excited about, but what you find yourself able to literally almost lay down your life for, right? It could also be tested by time. When you draw a connecting line of your life over the years, it has stayed through. It has stayed through. Do you understand? Over the years, it has stayed through. That could show you your core, right? So you could find that he says at the core you're a minstrel, even though you're also an equiper and you coach, you mentor, you write books, you speak around the world, you'd have a fashion line. Do you understand? Whatever it is, but you will discover that core. And when you find that core, you fuel that core because that core will fuel the rest. So if you're a minstrel, even when you're not invited to sing, you still continue to privately worship because that's where you drink what makes you the highest version. Let me tell you what God does when He puts a gift in you. When He puts a core gift in you, in fact, in any gift, when God puts a gift in you, He is drawing a connection point between you and heavenly realities, knowing that as long as you always come back to say, help me with this gift, how do I steward this gift? You would always have a connection point with divinity. And when you keep your connection point with divinity, you will be able to fuel what makes you rise to the highest, finest version of your human possibility. That's why He gives us gifts. He gives us gifts so that we can become stewards. And you can't become a steward without coming back ever so often to say, how do you want me to do this? That was the problem with the guy with 1 talent. He went to bury it because he didn't have an understanding of who the master is. And so anyone who is trying to steward their gifts without knowing the master, without walking with the master, will make a lot of mistakes and it's just going to become hustle. So your gift is always a connection point, rerouting you back to divinity. God knows that if He always finds a way to pull you back to Him, you would continue to shine. You would continue to be a better you. Do you see? So that's the first thing I'd like to say to you. It's important for you to know what your mother matrix is. It's important for you to know what your core is. And you can know that by what God is saying to you, what you find as a big pulsation, always beating in your heart. And then the test of time, what has stayed with you the most. So what am I saying with that? Always, always start with the discovery of your core. This is extremely important if you're going to be able to really fuel the other expressions in your life. It's what is going to keep you anchored. It's what is going to keep you grounded. Of all the things that I do, my core is that I am an equiper, right? I'm an equiper at my core. long before coaching became a thing that was fascinating, long before it had a name. I'd been doing it in the university, creating curriculum, even making people go through assessments and exams and testing, their goal setting as a student is who I've always been. I want to see people use transformational wisdom to create results in their lives. But I'm having multiple expressions based on the problems I see in the world that I want to solve, but I still use that core equiper methodology. So I am an equiper in Immerse. I teach, teach, teach. I crowdsource content. I want people to learn. I want to create methodologies around learning so that people can grow, right? That's who I am at my core. With Ideation Hub, that's still what I'm doing for social innovators and international NGOs, just helping them learn so that they can accelerate their social impact. And I still use a very strong learning incubation style. With Firebrand, I'm either writing books or running a Bible school because I'm still for people to learn. It's just at the core of who I am. So I fuel my equiper core, even if I wasn't serving in Immerse, Ideation Hub, Firebrand, or any other thing that I do. I still personally fuel my equiper core. I read for myself. I meditate extensively. I have thinking time because my core is not to speak to you. That's not my core. Speaking to you, getting into webinars like this is just a flow out of my equiper strength. But if I don't strengthen my strength, I am not going to be able to give my best at the expression level. Do you understand this? So you need to know your core and you need to strengthen it. And the place of strengthening your core is in private, is in quiet, is in solitude. Expression is a public outflow, but those who get presented in public must have been prepared in private. This is the way we're not going to embarrass ourselves or be a fraud or feel like imposters. Do you see? So you express in public, but you strengthen your core in private. You've got to know what it means to strengthen, that core. If you're a minstrel, you have to know the practices that strengthens that core. If you're an encourager, you're going to be attacked with discouragement yourself. You've got to know what renews you, right? Whatever it is you are at your core, you've got to know how to foil that in any different season of your life. The second thing I want to speak to for multi-influential people, many-sided people, not one talent people. The second thing is, and this one, I need you to get it, and it's going to change your life. Flowing out with your multiple expressions is the goal. Flowing out with all your expressions for the world is the goal. But flowing out with all your expressions at the same time is not the goal. Do you understand this? Flowing out with all your expressions, everything God is putting you in, is the goal so that you can reach the highest amount of people you were wired to reach, because your gifts usually has a trail of destinies that are connected to it, and you've got to understand that and be you and put yourself out there in the way that God shows you, so that you can actually really begin to pull in your own community, your own nation, those that have to hear you. But the goal is not for you to express all or release all your expressions at once. That's not the goal, not at the same time. Reason is there are expressions in you that are even still latent because their time have not come. So this is not, it's not a game of, it's not a show off, and it's not a game of, we're not in a hurry. You live season by season. So you would find that one of the most significant intelligences for visionaries is the capacity to discern seasons, the capacity to understand seasons. the capacity to make sense of seasons, the capacity to capture, um, a sense of what is to be done now. That is really important. What should I be doing now? What things should I be focusing on now? What things should I be releasing now? And let me tell you where the secret is. If you make a practice of fueling and releasing the expression or expressions that you get a strong sense should be released in a season, and you focus on them and grow them, when you have to shift your focus to a different expression, the one you have given focus in a particular season will be strong enough to ride and to go along, right? So people can look at you and think that you are, that's how people sometimes look at me and they're like, how are you even doing everything? And it's just like, how are you even doing everything? Like, how are you doing everything? But I'm not doing everything. I'm operating in seasons. And I do such a stunning job, as God helps me, of stewarding the expressions per season. And it becomes an important, it becomes a gift when I get into the next season, because what I have built and systemized and created structure in continues to run without my active engagement in a different season. So visionaries who understand seasons will know what expressions to fuel, will know the ones that should not be in public eye yet, but requires a certain type of quiet preparation, maybe in reading, in receiving mentorship, or just even in significant prayer investment. There are, in fact, in understanding seasons, God can show you as much as three seasons: the one you're in, the one that is coming, and the one after the one that is coming. So you can find yourself building the expressions of a season while praying for the expressions in the coming seasons. And this is really important. And the other reason you have to understand seasons is because if you follow God and you are led and you discern and I'm not even just saying be a Christian and pray. No, I'm saying be a keen observer of the pathways of God in your life. Because some of the things God is saying to you are not coming in seemingly spiritual waves, right? So my daughter, my son. No, some of it comes with restlessness, or you're feeling detached with something you're working on, and you now start to pray like, hey, God, oh, why am I not feeling this thing again? It might be a season is shifting, or you're all of a sudden burning with a readiness to go and do something, and it doesn't make any sense to you. You don't have a business plan yet, and I'm not saying don't have a business plan. Of course, you will do all of those, but everything around you looks like this is the one you should be focusing on, but a different one is calling for your attention. You've got to be a keen observer of what's going on. And then things could just be shifting. People are all of a sudden asking you questions about a particular thing that's always been in your heart, that you are saying, I will do later. And they're just like, have you ever thought of this? Do you have this service? That might be the desires, be the God putting desires in the hearts of your nation, and they are gravitating toward you. So you've got to sense all of those things. And this is why seasons are important. I need you to listen to me. When God commissions the expressions for a particular season, He leaves space for your life to be in a state of peace and for you not to become overwhelmed. When God is the one ordering your seasons, He leaves the space for Sabbath. That's how God orders things. He does it with His own work, and He does the same for you. But if you don't know how to listen for the seasons that are coming through in your life and what you should focus on in that season, you are going to be stressed out, because there won't be the room and the space that God sees from His vantage point, right? That you are going to need for you not to be overwhelmed, for you not to be stressed out. So if you're stressed out and overwhelmed, it is either you're doing more than you are meant to do in a season, or you're doing what you're meant to do in a season in the wrong way. But We work from rest. When God is the one showing you your seasons, you get a chance to actually work from rest. Do you understand this? You get a chance to work from rest. He gives you God in the architecture of how He assigns work to you. He leaves room for the Sabbath. He leaves room for you to be able to rest and recover and not be overwhelmed, and to operate in peace and be able to worship Him, right? And that's why He said to the Israelites when they were in Egypt that they have to be let go from their slavery so they can go and serve Him. Anything that you're building that doesn't leave room for you to grow a meaningful relationship with God is slavery. That's the Egypt model. Walk till you die. Walk till your bones are broken, right? But that is not how we as kingdom visionaries are wired to work. Okay? So you watch out for your core, you watch out for a recognition of seasons, so you know what you're meant to be working on in the different seasons, right? And then the third and final thing that I will mention as far as that is concerned is when you start to recognize your different expressions, try to uncover a roadmap. And I'm looking for the simplest way to sort of break that down. There is a joining force that is at work in how God organizes your life. It's not usually obvious on the surface, but if you look closer, you are going to see that there is a line connecting everything, right? You have to go find the joining force. You have to find the line or lines of frequency. You've got to find what is called the purpose linkage, right? What is the purpose linkage? What is the connecting line across all these different things, right? Let me tell you why this is important. Even you will find yourself upset with yourself sometimes, feeling like, am I confused or what is really going on? I'm not that I have this idea. I'm not that I have this idea. And whenever you resent your many sided grace, you are going to repel the strength and the anointing and the enablement that causes you to flow out. So you can't curse your gift and still steward it. No, that's not how it works. And that is why you need to recognize, you need to see the underlying, you know, um, core, or you need to see the connecting line. You need to see the big picture in all of the things that you're called to do. God is not an author of confusion. And in the midst of all the graces He's poured on you, and the gifts and the brilliant ideas and all the different expressions, right? You will find that there is an underlying purpose. There's an underlying core vision about your life. At the heart of everything that I do is my understanding that I am an equiper that is sent to raise, resource, and release visionaries, thought leaders, and change makers for Africa's emergence and the reclamation of the continent for Christ. That's what's at the heart of it. So whether I'm expressing it through ministry, as a pastor, I'm expressing it through ministry, as a Bible school teacher, expressing it as an author, expressing it as an international speaker, expressing it as a coach, right? Whatever, expressing it as a public policy analyst or someone running a social impact incubator. It's really still the big picture. It's still being an equiper who is raising, resourcing, and releasing visionaries, thought leaders, and change makers who will go ahead and become a critical mass for fixing the continent of Africa and leading her into, revival, leading her into the reclamation of the continent for God's kingdom, right? That is the game changer for me. It's what keeps me going. It's what keeps me grounded. It's the uniting force. Do you see? And what you recognize in terms of your purpose linkage doesn't have to sound like so deep like that. You might just find that at the heart of everything I do is that I'm an encourager. You may just find that at the heart of, everything I do, there's the line that runs through every single thing I do is that I'm a financier, I'm a woman of means, a man of means, I'm a giver for great courses. And in recognizing that, you can use that purpose linkage to do many things. You can use it to shape how you pray. You can use it to shape how you invest in yourself. You can use it to shape the kind of communities you belong to, because you're also looking for people with your kind of DNA to help you trigger new dimensions in your life. Do you understand? And if you are now able to even get very specific instructions about how you should organize your life based on that big picture of what you're called to do. And I call it big picture, not because big picture is not full picture, it's just big picture. You will never see everything. We're not trying to see everything. We're just saying that it's important if you see how the lines join through the different things pulling for your heart. Okay, so let me know if that has been helpful for you. As a multi-dimensional person, a many-sided, many-gifted person, a many-talent person, tell me what stood out the most for you. And we are going to be going very shortly into what we want to cover tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to go through all the 10 because I already started off with something I didn't plan to talk about at all. But I believe that it was just important to sort of clarify that. Yes, 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 yes. I like how you pick that, guys. Big picture is not full picture. Yeah, it's just a broader perspective and a capacity to see beyond, just what is before your nose in that sense. Okay, so you say that's been helpful. I'm excited about that. So we are going to go on into the 10 signposts, right, of a significant life. I like how Wura puts it here. I may be called into doing everything, but I'm not called into doing all at the same time. Temitaya says, stewarding all your potential is the goal, but stewarding them or stewarding it at the same time is not the goal. I like it. Tara says, when my Sabbath is shaking, I need to get back to Abba to realign. Oh, I like that. Omobolaji says, I need to strengthen my strength. Good job. Mimi says, big picture is not full picture. Muchiraya says, some things God says to us comes with restlessness and seasons need to be understood. Mimi also talks about understanding season. Yes, yes. Shaya says, my multidimensional expressions should never enslave me. I must still leave room for Sabbath. I love it. Damilola says, oh, I was speaking to you. I'm excited about that. Ife Christie says, I have to avoid the Egypt trap always. Okay. And Victoria says, when in your season, the peace of the Lord will stand up for you, no matter what. Okay, very good. Idowu says, don't express all at once. Now I know. Eden's Vinery, how do you start the process of loving your gift again? Well, maybe you go back to why you stopped loving it. Why did you stop loving your gift? It might offer you answers for how to start to love your gift again. Okay, yeah, Tomi saying, I truly love that one as well. My gift is a connection point for routing me back to divinity. Yeah, you always have to go back. That's what I do. I've been speaking since 2003. I held my first conference in Obafemi Awolowo University in 2003. I think it was June 2003. And it was attended by, I think, 180 female students on campus in 2003. And, in my mind, I preached a storm that day, right? So I've been speaking for, what would that be? What would that be? 17 years? That'll be 17 years. Actively speaking, getting invited to fellowships and events on campus to speak. And I even held a purpose discovery school, an 8-week Bible school in 2007. And it graduated over 100 students. We had a graduation ceremony. So I've been teaching for that long. But every single time I want to get into a Zoom call, a webinar like this one, anything where I'm going to be opening my mouth, I sort of have to be like, my heart will be beating. I'll be like, I desperately need your help. Just give me the words to say, right? Put the right words in my mouth and in my heart and speak through me. I'll be fidgety. I'll drink water. I'll be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, let's go. Yeah, that happens all the time. Still happened this night. I was just like, I feel so unprepared. I feel so unprepared, right? So your gift should route you back to God. Your gift is meant to keep you humble, because really it's an opportunity just for you to be useful. And God doesn't need you. The God of the universe doesn't need you. So if your gifts were given so that you can be useful in an agenda bigger than you, that should keep you humble, not proud. That should keep you humble. Like, how does pride even come into the equation at all? If you received a gift, it should keep you humble, because you weren't without that invitation, you were not going to be relevant. But he made you relevant. Yeah. 2007, I graduated students from the Purpose Discovery School, and I do have a very large 10 module curriculum. No, eight. It was 8 weeks. I think it was 8 modules, and we taught what purpose meant and all of that. Oh gosh. Okay. One of my students is right here. Look at that. She's giving you guys feedback. Yeah, you're right. G cubed N is what we used to be called, meaning God's Great Girls Network. And she's saying it was a proper school. Thank you, Malara, for that feedback. So your gift should route you back to God, and it should make you absolutely reliant on Him. That is how you thrive with any gift that He's offered you. Okay, so tell me if you are ready. Let's do at least maybe 5 of the signposts of a significant life. If you get into the Immerse Inner Circle, for sure, I'm going to be sharing all these things with you, right? So maybe we'll do 5 tonight, and so I can go and have my pretty, pretty night sleep. Put cucumbers on my eyes. I had this therapeutic tea that I have, brewed, but I've not been able to take it. I don't know how to drink or eat or do all of those things when I'm on a call. But I want to take that therapeutic tea. Yeah, all my students are coming through here now. That's Adela Bawatunde, who for sure was one of our leaders when we started ministry in 2003. See how me and my friends, see how we roll, see the hot babe. And she's been like a leading woman, for all those years. It's amazing. It's a joy. Yeah, so I want to go have my Sabbath. I'm going to take my therapeutic tea. I'm going to put my face mask on for a bit, put cucumbers on it, and then I'm going to have my feet massaged, and then I would sleep. So probably we'll do 5, and we'll be able to go to bed. Okay, everyone looks ready. I'm excited as well about that. Okay, so we are going to start right about now. We are going to start right about now. Let us see this. So please give me a moment. I'm trying to get it out. Okay, fantastic. Lara was in the last quarter of the Immerse Inner Circle, and she's back again. You are welcome. That's such a wise decision. Excited to have you back. And I hope that everybody picks that memo and makes the changes as well. Okay, if you want to join the Immerse Circle, that is now scrolling for you. You can join the Immerse Circle. That's going to be an awesome, awesome decision for you to make. Okay, let me start off with the first one because it's just what it is. It's it's an easy winner. If you crack this one and you take it seriously, you are going to have an amazing life. You are going to have an amazing life. And I teach this extensively as well in Unbundling 2020, but I'm also going to be teaching it extensively in the Immerse in a Circle. Femi Jacobs' session on spirituality, clarity, and creativity really spoke also to what I'm about to speak about. And if you're already registered as a paid participant of Live Away Conference, boom, you are in great luck because the things that he shared and the things you're going to be listening to on Saturday, they will blow your mind. Thank you, Ido Tekila. Thank you. And you're one of my favorite students because I saw that you weren't joking with the curriculum. You were giving me feedback. I was excited about it. So I'm going to start with the first signpost of a significant life. Don't joke with this one. Like, it's an easy win. If you take it serious, if you prioritize it, you are going to see results. You would see results in your life. You would start to make movements. You would start to shift, right? And it's the number one that I have raised with you when I was also looking at the enemies of a significant life. And we talked about weak self-knowledge or weak self-image. And so I'm flipping it for you. Number one signpost for a significant life is, sorry, I'm a little distracted. Just forgive me. Okay, I'm fully with you now. Just give me a moment. Oh gosh, stop it. Oh, good job. Okay, fantastic. The first signpost that I want to speak to you about is self-knowledge and self-mastery. You know, I tell you what, if any coaching teaches you or anything, any personal development goal or any personal development drive or any personal development agenda teaches you to study anything else before really mastering yourself, it will never serve you. It will never serve you. Let me tell you the secret. Two people take a business strategy book, right? They read it. They want to try to apply the principles to their lives, right? So they take a business strategy book. They want to apply the principles to their business, right? That's what they want to do. They want to apply the principles to their business. One is going to get phenomenal results in their business. The other may not. And the simple difference will not be because the principles don't work or the author is lying. The difference will be the degree of personal mastery, the degree of self mastery, the degree of self knowledge that the two entrepreneurs trying to apply it have, right? The knowledge of yourself is almost like the canvas on which you can paint your creativity, on which you can paint your dreams, on which you can paint your vision, on which you can paint the future. So, whatever you receive as gifts of knowledge, of wisdom, of inspiration, of ideas, when you receive all those gifts, you actually lay them on the canvas of who you are. Do you understand this? And I'm looking for an example that really, really sits. That really sits. So, um, let's give an example of maybe a room, right? A room. Whatever you, how do I really describe that to you? I'm looking for an example that would really help you get it. Let's use your skin. Yeah, that could work, right? Let's use your skin. No matter how great a makeup product is, right? If you don't first have a great understanding of your skin, whatever you're trying to use on yourself, right, it's not going to give you the best result because you may be using what is not even for you. And I hope that that sort of resonates a bit because there are so many women in this call. But what I'm saying to you categorically is the knowledge of yourself is the most significant enlightenment. I thank you so much for the great feedback that you guys are giving to me. I'm excited to hear that immerse is a miracle. So self mastery is the canvas. The knowledge of you is a canvas on which you paint your dreams. The more you know yourself, the more you know what can work. The more you know what is for you and what is not for you, right? The more you know the direction that you should be taking. And self knowledge is what saves you from herd mentality. Whenever you hear a person say something like, no, no, that won't work for me, it's coming from somewhere. It's because they've dated themselves in quietness and honest inquiry, right? Honest estimations, to say honest appraisals, to say what do I like and I don't like? What kind of environment allows me to thrive? I know the environment that allows me to thrive. And that's why I can recreate it on purpose every single day. I don't like noise. I don't like drama, right? I need quiet and I need genuineness to be able to thrive. And that's what I give, and that's what I expect to receive, and that's what I look out for in my relationships. So self knowledge really saves you from herd mentality. I love it that Adriel put that up for us. It saves you from trying to be everybody. When you have self knowledge, you're going to know who should mentor you and who shouldn't mentor you, even if they're mentoring everybody around you. You're going to know the kind of books you should read and how you prefer to read them. I don't read whole books, I read chapters, and that's good enough for me. Many of the books that I have caught the gist and the meat of it, I never read everything. I just go for where the gist really started. And what I am looking for, I take it and I run with it. So it's important for you to really start to prioritize this. I know that you've heard it many times. It's likely that this conversation has come to you again and again, right? But I want you to start to think about it this way. If you don't know yourself, you are going to miss your shortcuts because self knowledge is like knowing the shortest possible route to getting into the future. Because it's your future, right? It's your future. And actually, the path to the future are like, how do I say that? The path to the future is a treasure hunt, and the clues to the treasure hunt is hidden in who you are. Oh God, please help me. I need to break this down, right? Self knowledge shows you the shortcuts to your own future because the journey to the future is like a treasure hunt. You know, a treasure hunt. You put a treasure somewhere and then you put different clues in papers. You write it creatively. Mango under a tree. You hide it somewhere. Person opens it. Mango under a tree. Oh, then they go, to check out for a mango. When they get to the mango, it says a blue man with a face cap. Then that way. So just as the future is like that treasure hunt you're trying to get in the future, who you are and the different things about you are like the clues leading you to that future. Do you understand this? So let's say a person's future is in their future, they are meant to be an advocate against abortion, right? Maybe they're meant to be an advocate against abortion. And I don't even know why I use that example. But let's say that's something in the future to stand against it and to advocate for it not to happen, for example. And when they were growing up, maybe they had an abortion themselves and it broke them so much, right? It broke them so much. And every single place they just always had an affinity for babies. It was just such a strong pull. If that person started to pay a lot of attention to themselves, they are going to discover that that pain, that burden that they felt, and that attraction that pulled them was actually a clue telling them about who they could actually become and the kind of future they could step into. Do you see this? Because who you are stays with you for life in that sense. And hidden in who you are like um clues, like addresses leading you on into what the future looks like. And I could go on and on talking about this, but I hope you get the general idea. The first, I said spirituality is a dual enlightenment. I said that yesterday on a particular life call. It's an enlightenment into God and an enlightenment into self, right? And until you have an enlightenment into who you are never going to be able to show up at the highest possible level. Because every time we're trying to be others, or we're trying to fit into the boxes and the labels that society creates for us, we always dump down. Originality never exists within labels. Originality never exists within labels. Originality is recognizing your prototype. Falling to a label is bowing to stereotypes. Tell me if I'm not speaking over your head, if you get what I'm explaining to you here, because it's so important. Originality can never be found in just trying to fit into a box and trying to fit into a label, how it's done, what people expect of me. Never, never. Originality doesn't exist in labels, right? Originality is to follow your prototype. And prototype, there's a whole message in that. Stereotypes are not great, right? But prototypes are important. And what that means is, at the end of the day, while we're all individuals, we're patterned after a certain kind. And you've got to recognize, oh gosh, you've got to recognize your kind, right? When you recognize your kind, you can start to gravitate toward those who have higher enlightenment of your kind. Do you understand? And then they can teach you. So, oh gosh. So to have a prototype, you know what a prototype is. So at the end of the day, even though we're individuals, we we are framed after a certain kind. Do you see? Because God had a consideration for certain kinds of problems and He created certain kinds of people to solve them. Do you understand this? So you are an individual, but you are not, um, there's no one like you, but there are people like you. Do you see? So you're an individual, you have an authentic, unique, divine signature on your soul. And that's true, but you still belong to a kind. And God made us in kinds so that He can set examples for those of our kind that have gone before us. And the knowledge of our kind accelerates our journey, right? So that is why if you're scrolling on Instagram, not everybody appeals to you. Not everybody triggers something within you. Or you listen to some people and you're like, what? Who is that? What? It's possible that they are your kind. So they have your kind of weirdness. Others can look at you and be like, what kind of crazy idea is this one? But they have your kind of weirdness. And that's a whole gist when God was saying to Abraham, when Isaiah was saying in the prophet Isaiah was saying Isaiah 51, he said, "Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah your mother. Look unto the rock from which you were cut out, and the hole from which you were dug, because I called him as one, and then I made him a nation." So it was basically saying there's an Abrahamic kind. If you find that you belong to that kind, then look up to him and look toward him, because there's an operation that I've established in his kind. And when you find your kind, results become repeatable because there are unique methodologies and operations that go with a kind. And that's why you've got to understand prototypes. Do you see? So when you're on the journey to the enlightenment of self, don't just think about it within the context of I'm the only one. There's a unique signature. What I'm about to do, nobody has ever done it. That's not true. That's not true. It may make you excited, but it's not true. Do you understand? It's not true. Even scripture says that there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. And scripture is super coded. If you look carefully at scripture, you will find I'm actually working on a curriculum that shows me 12 distinct prototypes of visionary women. Very distinct. So don't fall for stereotypes, but you've got to understand prototypes. So when you are on the journey to self enlightenment, you both know yourself because there are things that are really unique about you, e.g., your background, even those in your kind were raised by your parents, right? So there are all those unique dynamics, the environment you found yourself, the parents that raised you, the unique challenges that you've experienced in your life. Do you see this? But you've got to then rise beyond that first level of enlightenment, of self enlightenment, to the next level of enlightenment, which is more now around my kind, my own kind of vibe, frequency, energy, my kind. And then you begin to study those patterns, right? Because you will definitely, definitely get your answers. Let me say this to you. God houses intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and God teaches spiritual intelligence and divine operations through the curriculum of men. Men are God's curriculum. I'm telling you. So some of you are trying to get all your answers by being with God and just writing and say, "Speak to me, Lord. Speak to me because your servant heareth." That's not how he operates. Scripture says that these guys were set as examples for us. They were set as examples. The whole idea of having the scripture documented, right? And for, having those who have gone ahead of us share their own story is so that we can bottle divine operations. And when a person looks at a person who's gone ahead of them and they see that this is my kind, they can pay attention to the operations that come with that kind and they will start to see results. Do you understand this? So you must hear from God. You must have times of private meditation. You must be clear on what decisions you want to make for your life. But I'm saying to you that all your answers will not come by private inspiration. Some of your answers will come, and that is why coaching is powerful, right? And I'm not even getting into coaching tonight. If you don't have your convictions about coaching and about mentorship, it's a different conversation, and I'm not having it tonight. But it's a game changer. I found my kind in Dr. Cindy Train, and I literally did everything that was going to take me to make myself someone she wanted to have in her life. Like, whatever's going to take, you won't coach me. You will mentor me because you speak to the signature of my soul. How is this even possible? How can I hear things privately and then you're confirming them and elaborating on them? She is my kind. She's gone ahead of me. It's powerful. And one of the things you also discover that you can use as a signpost for finding your kind is when you hear them, in the midst of their general conversation, you begin to have specific stirrings and you begin to have accurate answers. It will be as though they live inside your heart and they know the things you've always wondered about. You'll be like, it's not possible. Apologies. Let me drink some water. Okay, or let me take my tea at this precious time. It's a bit hot. I don't really like hot things. So you listen to them. They're offering general wisdom, but is providing you specific steerings and accurate answers. When you find that, I don't understand though. I don't even know who taught me this thing, but I wonder how the world doesn't know it. Maybe that's why I'm sent as a teacher. When you find that, recognize that it's a degree of self enlightenment that you are about to enter into if you commit to those alliances, if you commit to those relationships. Yeah. So I'm answering the question about how to grow self knowledge, self mastery. The first is the enlightenment of self at the level of your unique programming, your unique, childhood, your unique background, and all of that, your unique experiences. But then there's a higher self enlightenment that is connected to really discovering your kind and allowing yourself to be schooled in the company of your kind. That's really powerful. That's why I'm coached by Dr. Marshawn Evans, Dr. Cindy Trim, and by Marshawn Evans. They are my kind. Do you see? Monisola says, and that's a beautiful question, can one have multiple prototypes? Um, yes, but what I would say is you could have an intersection of prototypes. Yes, absolutely. Where you find a measure of this in you and a measure of that, right? And you would find many times that there's a particular prototype that is stronger, you see, and then others also feature, which is an absolutely great thing. Okay, so you want to pay attention to that as you think about self mastery and self knowledge. And there are other things around self knowledge that I could be sharing with you. I'll mention a few and then I'll run along. Um, Another very important thing as far as self knowledge is concerned is to use the power of solitude and journaling so that you can hear yourself. Many of us are very dopamine intoxicated. To be dopamine intoxicated is to be on the fast lane of how your mind has been trained and addicted to the information that excites you, right? And that's what social media does. Social media creates an habitual pattern in your neural pathways, causing you to always hunger and thirst in that sense, with an addiction for what excites you. You want to see who's liked your post. You want to scroll and see the pictures. You want to see what everybody's doing. You want to see hashtag goals. You also want to post your own content, and you want people to respond and be like, wow. You want to tell many people liked it. You want to check what's going on. You want to, all of that. You're running from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube to Twitter, and just yeah, it's a power of dopamine. You unconsciously train your neural pathways to hunger and thirst for what gives you pleasure, and you don't know how to back up. Happens to the best intentioned people. So it's you have a responsibility, and it's so subtle that when people get addicted, they don't even know that they've gotten addicted. So happens to the best of us. And you have a responsibility to now begin to make a new difficult practice. Some of you can't leave your phone for a day, for example. Some of you don't have that capacity anymore because the dopamine rush is mad. People wake up with their phones, go to bed with their phones, check Instagram first thing in the morning. Do you see? Some people actually itch and shake if they forgot their phone at home. They'll go back and get it. Like if you're here and you can't fathom a day without your phone, you might be dealing with a dopamine addiction. And when you have a dopamine addiction, you are unable. So the neural pathway upon which the sensations of pleasure, right, are also connected to the neural pathways upon which the sensations of inspiration ride. But you have to retrain your mind to start to experience pleasure from the sensations of inspiration. Do you understand this? Pleasure from the inspiration, from the sensation of inspiration. So it's replacement methodology. As we're talking about this addiction to dopamine, to social media, some people have an addiction to revelation knowledge. They hunger and thirst for it. They can't, like, every day they want light. They want a word. They want counsel. They're like, what? Oh my God, they're screaming, they're excited. The things they're screaming and excited about, other people around them are like, what? What do you? Because, what rides more on a pathway is what that pathway comes to recognize and comes to be triggered by, and all of that, you see. So you have to start to shift from the media and quieting the noise so that you can start to ride sensations of inspiration on your neural pathways, on your soul, on your mind, even from your spirit. And I teach this a lot also in unbundling. There's something we call the flow of light that starts with perception to reception to conception, right? And I know I'm sort of talking a bit above your wavelength if you're not in unbundling. But the deal is you can start to quieten your mind on purpose by using solitude meditation and journaling to know yourself more. It's not going to start out seeming like you're knowing yourself more. It's just going to be like, what is this boring thing if you've not been doing it? But as you make a practice of writing, you are going to be emptying the content of your soul on journals, whether it's a digital journal or a written journal. And when you start to read it back, you'll be piecing together a frame of the person within. You're not going to be meeting the person within. You're going to be like, okay, this is how I am. This is what I like. Oh, this is what I'm trying to say whenever I feel this way. This is the alarm going off in my spirit when I start to get restless about this, or, yeah, and you start to know yourself. And that's a big gift for sure. If you want to join Unbundling 2020, that is for you, the link to join. So you start to use solitude meditation and journaling. It definitely grows your understanding of yourself. Then you can also start to use the power of unfettered feedback to grow self-knowledge. Some of us don't like feedback. I've spent such a long time on this conversation, so I'm just going to wrap it up. But there's something we call the Johari window. The Johari window is such an interesting human relationship phenomenon that I just have to mention here. That's the spelling, Johari. It's called the Johari window, and it's a phenomenon of human communication and relationship that was created by two men, and it's a mixture of their name that created the Johari window. So what the Johari window teaches you is the different windows that you have in your life. The different windows, and I'm going to sort of break that down very quickly. You've got the known window, the unknown window, the hidden window, and the blind window. And the Johari window sort of postulates that based on how you communicate, you either open up these windows that are like windows into your soul, or you close them depending on how well you communicate. And we're still talking about self-mastery, and I'm giving you maybe the fourth point on the power of feedback and communication with people who can be honest with you. So the known window is what you know about yourself that other people know about you. Some people have a very large known window because they are upfront and they talk about themselves and they are open. Some people are very secretive, so their known window is small because they don't open up about themselves. So it's not that large what they know about themselves that other people know about them too, right? So that's the known window. Then there's the unknown window, which is what you know about yourself that other people don't know about you. For some people, that window is very large, meaning there are many things they know about themselves that other people don't know. For some people, that window is very small, even to an unsafe degree, because they say everything. Everything is out there, right? So they say everything, and people really know them because there's nothing that they keep to themselves. And then you've got the third window, which is your hidden window. What you don't know about yourself that other people don't know about you, e.g., the day you die, what your future looks like in concrete terms, right? The genotype of your last child when you're not even married yet. You don't really know that. So that's your blind window. That's your hidden window. And everybody has got the hidden window. And then there's the blind window, which is where I'm really going. The blind window is what you don't know about yourself that other people know about you. That's the blind window. So people could be self unaware to a degree in their lives that other people are looking at you and they are drawing conclusions because they can see you clearly in a certain way or in a certain area, but you don't know that thing about yourself, so you can't make adjustments. For some people, those who ask for feedback and who humble themselves to take the truth, that window is small because there are not too many things others know about them that they don't know about themselves. For some people, it's really large because they're not going to ask for feedback and they're going to argue. So their blind window is wide and it makes them have a lot of blind spots. Let me tell you this for free. People may not know themselves well enough, but they know you. And I don't mean they know you in an intimate way. I mean that anytime people are external observers to a pattern of behavior, that is a fantastic reference point for feedback so you can make adjustments. So I'm not saying they know you into your soul and who you really are. I'm not talking at that deep level. I'm just saying that they can see patterns of behavior, habits you don't even know you have because you are the man in the picture and you're locked into the thing. They can see it. So every time you learn to take feedback from those who have a credible assessment of your work or a personal view of you on a very consistent basis, receiving feedback from them is a cheap way to grow your self-awareness. Do you see? People know you. They say a pattern of behavior. It's before them every day. You don't know you're doing it, but you're always doing it, and they can say, yeah, you do that. So asking for feedback is also an important way for you to increase self-knowledge and self-mastery. The final one for sure is assessments, personality tests. Those can definitely be a big blessing for you on your journey to really, really growing your self-mastery. What am I going to do? When I'm done with this video, I would share with you a link that you can take to one of the most accurate assessments that I use it for my coaching clients. It's beautiful. And I'm going to share that with you and just put it in the link to the as a link in the description. And you can come back to this video and see what you do with that. So the second enemy that I spoke about was possibility blindness. And the answer to that is possibility conviction. There are many things that I could be teaching you about possibility conviction, but I want to run along. But I wanted to touch on this. And I'm just going to be giving you 3 things that can help you elevate possibility conviction because you know that I'm the queen of 3, right? So how do you elevate possibility conviction? That's what heals you from possibility blindness. The first thing you do is that you take a trip to your childhood. Take a trip to your childhood. And how you do it is just take a plain sheet of paper and you're just going to try to do a possibility inventory. Take a plain sheet of paper, Draw a line in the center. It can be straight, it doesn't have to be straight, whatever works for you. On the left, write out 2, 5, 10. Just dream away a bit on the left and write out things that matter to you that you want to see happen in your life. Okay? Things that matter to you that you desire to see manifest in your life. So I can give you a few examples. I want to teach Africans. I want to go across every single country on the African continent and teach them about mindset reengineering and teach them transformational principles for transitioning from slavery into enthronement. You see, because Africa's history of slavery is not just an event, um, it is a pattern of mindedness, a pattern of mindsets. So there's been a inherited slavery mindset. So that's a desire. That's what something I want to see. So just dream away and write what you want to see. I want to go across the African continent teaching this. I want to have an intimate, beautiful marriage. No matter how high I rise, I want to rise with my husband. I want to have a beautiful family. I want to grow my kids, my children with strong, grounded, godly values. Yeah, I want that to happen. I want to, you know, I want to have a publishing press that can allow me print and distribute my books for absolutely free across the world. I want to have an enormously wealthy fund for sick babies and babies that have terminal illnesses or significant medical difficulties, as well as children with special needs. A massive multi-billion-dollar fund for them. I want to have those things. So just dream away, dream away, dream away, dream away, dream away, and list out between 2, 5, 10 of these images that represent possibilities to you. Make sure they're not just all around money or projects. Make sure they run deeper to life, to relationships, and you possibly can even use a trick. You can use a shortcut trick. You can use what is called the wheel of life that covers 8 core areas of life. So you can think about your spirituality, your finances, your health, your marriage, your family, your social network, your career or business, your civic responsibilities, your personal development. And you can use this wheel of life to actually write out what is important to you. Just let me take my tea a bit more. Okay, so you can write out these possibilities on the left and then ask yourself on the right, in my childhood and in my growing up, did anybody represent any scale of this possibility, right? And then beside your right column where you're answering yes or no, put a percentage. So if you say yes, you put a percentage on a scale of 1 to 10, or maybe just use a scoring on a scale of 1 to 10. Yes, a great marriage was modeled to me. My parents represented this, or my uncle and his wife represented this, that a great marriage was possible. Yeah, 8%, 8 over 10, 6 over 10, whatever. I want to have a fund. Was this represented at any level in my grown up years? Was there someone who was number one of what is safety check? Was there someone who was a wealthy, generous philanthropist who modeled generosity and kindness and were wealthy enough to practice what they really, the way they wanted to serve the world? Does that exist in my world? Okay, so you make a list of that. You make a list of big possibilities that you desire in your life. Now, it's possible you're in a place where you don't even really have the first signpost, self knowledge and mastery. So it's possible that you don't even really have any possibility occurring to you right now. That's fine, that's possible. I would say that you can go and start with You can start with Dr. Cindy Trim's book, Why Am I Not Remembering? Hello Tomorrow, so that it just opens up. It means you are clogged, and that's possible. You can be clogged with disappointment and pain that you've stopped dreaming, right? That's a level of possibility blindness. And if that's happening, I would say you can start with reading a book, and just gradually allow yourself to begin to believe again. Okay? But let's say you're believing, but you're not believing at the highest level. You're still like, can these things be? Write out, even with fear in your heart, the possibilities that you would love to see. And I've told you, not everything money, not everything project, life. And then take a trip to your childhood and say, did anybody modeled this to me? If you have a lot of no's or you have yeses that are 5/10 and below, the likelihood is very high that you have a possibility blindness program. And that's not a problem. But that's the first step to getting into possibility conviction, right? So you've taken care of that. The next thing you do to now start the journey to possibility conviction, you do this first so you know the work that is ahead of you. If it's small work or if it's serious work. If you don't have it modeled, the desires that you have in your heart, you don't have it modeled, you don't have representations of it, even if it's not exactly like your own, right? It may mean that you have a lot of work as far as that possibility blindness is to be cured. So how do you take that journey toward possibility conviction? And I said I wanted to just share, just a few things with you because I want to run. The first thing is to use the anchor of true spirituality. And this is not a religious conversation at all. True spirituality is the most significant mechanism that elevates faith. And faith is all about possibilities and risk taking. So true spirituality elevates faith because it brings you in contact with the divine power, potential, purpose, and person of God, right? Which is higher than you, bigger than you, mightier than you, more glorious than you. So true spirituality is your first big hit of possibility conviction, right? It's your first big hit. You're like, I've got the Lord of the universe, the maker of the universe. What's not possible? Do you see this? So true spirituality is a mechanism for awakening possibility conviction. It's powerful, it works, it's real. And I'm not talking about just reading your Bible. I'm talking about reading the mysteries beneath the pages of the Bible, right? So you start with an anchor of true spirituality. As you truly start to engage with God and grow your relationship with Him, you will start to believe bigger. That's going to happen. The second thing is you have to elevate your context or catalyze your context. You have to catalyze your context. And your catalysis is your responsibility, especially to the degree of the existing possibility blindness. Like I've told you, if you look at your background, if you look at your programming, if you look at your childhood, and there are no models, because models create what is called mental insistence, subconscious insistence. If something was modeled to you, you will subconsciously insist that it is possible. If it was not modeled to you, you subconsciously insist that it is not possible. Do you understand this? So modeling creates subconscious insistence. So you then use you catalyze your context, and that simply means you have to start to look out for. Okay, the book recommended by it's called Hello Tomorrow. It's called Hello Tomorrow by Cindy Trim. That's a great book to start opening your eyes. And don't read it too deeply. Don't try to take notes. Just read it almost like a novel. Just let it enter gradually, right? So you use the anchor of true spirituality because it's a mechanism that elevates your possibility conviction. your faith and risk taking, because you are now interacting with the forces of divine life bigger than you. The second is to catalyze your context. So if it wasn't modeled to you, the way you break your subconscious insistence is to experience a remodeling. So there were no philanthropists in your youth, in your childhood, in your growing up years, but can you find them and access their communities now? So you see, when people just go around to events, networking events, week one, week two, I just everywhere. When I see people at every conference, it's 90% to me a sign of the absence of self mastery. What we're doing in this kind of webinar is to elevate self mastery. I'm not doing aspire to perspire to quagwire. I'm taking it step by step. I told you 10 things standing against you, right? So what self mastery means is you would write out those things and you say, this one is talking to me. This one is talking to me. This one is talking to me. Then what will I do to navigate this unique enemy standing in my way of a significant life? You go back to video one in this series if you haven't watched it, right? And I might do a third series after Live Away conference to cover the ones I don't cover. I will just stay with 5 and maybe I'll do the next 5. But that's if I see you guys at Live Away conference. If I don't see a Live Away conference, I would have everything. So when I say if I see you jumping at every conference, or if I see you tell me that I've read 98 books, it doesn't impress me. Which type? And were they speaking to specific learning needs in your life? You understand? That's when I'll take you seriously. So you can't say, how many conferences we attend? Which one is live away just saying? Do you know? But I say, well, how many Zoom call? I was there all year long. That's not what we're talking about. So self-mastery makes you selective. It's self-mastery is one of the things that make you classy. It's one of the classiest things in a person's life. Like, you would just have your own frequency. You would just have your groove. Because you know what you're going for. I know my challenge areas, and I'm not trying to be mentored by everybody, coached by everybody. I don't go to conferences. I don't go to all of them. So if based on self-mastery, you read about Live Away conference and it's not where you're supposed to be, please don't be there. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. And that's why I'm not a numbers person. I don't just want, even though surprisingly, I have quite large numbers, but I'm not a numbers person. If it's meant for 100 people, show up and we'll give you value and then you go change the world. Do you see? So catalyze your context. You must begin to invest in the communities that look like where you're going. You must begin to hang around people who look like where you're going. The thing is meant to be like so simple. I don't even know why we don't get it. I don't know why people don't get it, because you get it. I believe you get it. That's why you're even in this webinar at this time of the night. My husband never gets it. He'll be like, you're keeping married women away from their husbands at 11. And their husbands have not closed the laptop. I'm like, just like you've not closed the laptop. We got to do what we got to do so we can serve even our family members better, right? So elevate possibility conviction by an anchor of true spirituality, catalyze your contexts, right? And then a third powerful thing is to always document your wins. We all have wins. The moment, and it's also self-mastery, that you heal from thinking about everything within the currency of money as against wealth, you are going to see that you have wins. I love to document my wins. I've had an extraordinary year, and I have parts of my journal where I keep adding to, oh wow, this has happened. I document my growth in my mind. I document how I better manage my emotions. I document how quick I forgive. I document how patient I am with my children. I document how much money I've made. I document how I'm able to make a higher investment. Live Away conference is my highest investment in a single event. I'm telling you, I've paid international speakers, not just money, but a bit of my lungs and some part of my intestines. So I will document that as well. right? Do you write them in a separate journal? So in my case, because it's in my digital journal, I just have to open where I'm putting it in and keep adding. Do you see? So I use a digital journal. But for those who use a standard journal, I think your gratitude journal should be separate. Yeah, your gratitude journal should be separate. Some people even have a 365-day gratitude challenge. And Bamike is on this call. She's had a gratitude challenge. Do you see? Tara says even an arm and a leg. I'm telling you. So if you see me limping, just know that it's because of you people. Kidding, but you also must document your wins. When you document your wins, you start to insist to your subconscious mind that you can accomplish your possibilities. If this year you've experienced anything that was formerly a dream in your heart, you should be loud with gratitude. You should be loud with gratitude, not just because God, those who are grateful will not be gratefuls. God will do more if you thank Him. No, you should be generous with gratitude because gratitude alters your subconscious insistence. When you are grateful, you are forcing your inner man to reckon with the fact that you have shifted. So you start to teach your mind the habitual practice of recognizing that possibilities exist in the world. Do you understand it now? Gratitude is even in your favor. So for those of you, what has God done? They will now be threatening us when we should thank God. No, that's not what it's about. Gratitude alters your subconscious insistence. Yeah. So if you live a grateful life, you're going to elevate your possibility conviction. And when you have possibility conviction, you are going to have more wins. It's a cycle. It's a virtuous cycle, not a vicious one, a virtuous one, right? It's a cycle. You keep creating wins because you always expect them. You always believe them. Do you understand? Um, so that's on number two. I'm going to jump very quickly to number three now, and we are going to look at the growth mindset. The growth mindset. The growth mindset is how you tackle learned helplessness. You know, we talked about learned helplessness, and that one really, really fascinated everyone. Everyone kept saying, "Oh my God, I must have been dealing with learned helplessness," right? So, who wants to make a goal and tell us what learned helplessness is about? Who wants to give it to us? Learned helplessness. I'm going to be waiting. Yes, God has been spectacular. If Thanksgiving is our lifestyle, it's definitely going to alter our subconscious. If you're allowed with gratitude, gratitude teaches your inner man that possibilities exist. Okay, so talk to me about learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. You use the growth mindset to tackle learned helplessness. But if I don't have a student who gives me what learned helplessness means, we are not going to go on. So go for it. What is learned helplessness? And if you're joining for the first time, remember at the end of this particular webinar to go back to the previous one and to go and feast. Go and feast. Okay? It always says, always shifting the buck or blaming others. Okay? Not bad. Give it to me. Who also wants to share a definition of learned helplessness? Tomison says, learned helplessness. Good job. Somebody's giving the lecturer her notes. Is a practice of refusing to release your higher dimensions because you have embraced a lie that you are incapable. Good job. I love it. Well done. Well done. Okay, Mojirola says, only children are usually maybe to practice, I don't know, usually practice learned helplessness. And I like the other names that you guys are giving to it. Someone has said victim mentality. Oge Taiwo says, always using an unfavorable experience as a crutch for underachievement. What is going on? Wow, I love it. So good. So good. Oh gosh, you guys are great. I love it. I love that. Just look at that. Omobalaji says, refusing to release my highest potential by thinking I'm incapable. Okay. Utraya says, learning helplessness is not being able to ace your goals because of your past failures or hurts. Oh gosh, you guys are so good. I love it. So this is the big picture definition that I shared with you in the last webinar about learned helplessness, a practice of refusing to release your higher dimensions because you have embraced a lie that you are incapable. And we've talked about it could be your pain that makes you always, you just refer to that past challenge, past pain as your crutch, and you're like, I can't do this, I'm unable, I'm incapable. Yeah, it could be, just that victim mentality, always looking for someone else to blame, someone else is responsible, right, for everything that's gone wrong, or always being so entitled, just waiting for someone to do it for you. And it's definitely what makes people really lose their personal power. It's what makes them never really able to rise, to manifest their full potential, to step into a significant life. And I feel like we went deep with learned helplessness on that day. A powerful way to tackle learned helplessness, and it's definitely a signpost of the significant life, is to have a growth mindset. To have a growth mindset is to believe that you can acquire anything that you require. And I know it's not sounding like acquire to perspire. Let me be careful. That you can acquire anything that you need for a life of success. Anything that you need for a life of success is acquirable, is attainable. Anything, any resource, any skill, any competence, right? Any behavioral adjustments that you require to step into a life of success, a life of significance, a life of meaning, and the accomplishment of your highest goals is definitely very possible. Tara is just always laughing, you know, on my webinars. I love it. She's just like, yeah. So a growth mindset is a strong mental attitude and a belief that there is nothing you require for a life of success and significance that is outside your reach, even if you were not naturally born with it. Do you understand? So the growth mindset believes that nobody is born a genius. Nobody is, nobody needs to live an underutilized life because of their own challenges or their past. Nobody needs to live. That brilliance is expandable. That nobody's an automated genius without the need for effort, and nobody has to be condemned as a dullard. Do you see that intelligence is expandable, brilliance is expandable, skill is expandable, mindsets are expandable? That's what the growth mindset is about. And I feel like it's one of my superpowers. There's nothing that I want to achieve, no matter how daunting it is, that I will not always find myself saying, this thing is possible. Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to learn? What do I need to master? I've learned technology, even when it is not my forte, it's not my interest, right? I've learned accounting, even though what I prefer to do with money is to make it. Um, right? I've learned, how to even be more outgoing, even though that's not who I am by nature. So the growth mindset really says you can acquire anything that you need to achieve a life of significance, even if you were not naturally born with it, right? A strong growth mindset believes that nobody's born a genius. We can all embrace a life of brilliance if we make a go at it. Everything you need to live a successful life is within your reach. Intelligence is expandable, skill is expandable, a mindset is expandable. So good. So, I mean, even my becoming an outgoing person is just about the growth mindset, right? I'm not by nature a very outgoing person. I prefer to be in my space. I'm a covered introvert. When my phone is ringing, my heart will be beating. I'll be like, who's calling me? What do they want from me? Oh gosh, don't call me. Oh God. Yeah. But I started to recognize, and I'm going to share that with you as well, because it's one of the important signposts under the growth mindset. I started to recognize that my personality is just a down payment for my life and purpose. My personality is not everything I need to become what God has called me to be. It's just a down payment, it's just an installment. There are things that I need that do not come with my natural personality, and I desperately need it if I'm going to manifest my highest potential in the world. And interestingly, there are things that I have in my natural personality that I don't need. So you are going to find, as you learn about the growth mindset, that your perspective about your personality has to change, or else you're still going to step into learned helplessness without knowing. If you find yourself saying, "This is how I am, this is who I am, people just have to understand me," you will never really fully step into the opportunities and the possibilities that exist for you. As a leader, there's a way to think, there's a way to behave. It may not come natural for you. Do you understand? So some people can say, by nature, I'm not an execution person. Naturally, me, I'm an ideas person. No, sir, you are going to go and have to get some execution, or else you're never going to fully manifest your vision. You can't just be an ideas person. Okay, you put the ideas down. How do you move forward from that? Do you see this? So you can't say, "This is how I am. This is how I am." You can't say that in your marriage, for example, whether you're a man or woman. Our spouses marry us without faults, right? But they have a hope somewhere within that we are going to change, that we are going to improve, right? And one of the greatest gifts you can give your spouse in marriage is an upgraded version of you. You see, because when they paid your bride price, if you're from a culture that does that in Nigeria, when they paid your bride price, they were paying for the former you. Do you understand? But you can upgrade in such a way that they now have to pay another bride price, but to you directly. Do you understand? Be the kind of wife that your husband will be like, "You've really grown, oh, really grown. Let me just send you to Bahamas. Take these tickets. Coco, go first." Do you understand this? So that's a gift you can give your spouse. It's a gift you can give your siblings. It's a gift you can give the world. You can upgrade. You can grow. You can, yeah, everything is expandable. Now, I must be honest that there's some things you would never be, epic at, right? But you can be good, really good. And if you find, and you don't have to be good at everything. Like, I want to work on everything, and it's still self mastery, self knowledge. If you make that list and you say, "These are things that I need for my next level," you would likely find that there are already like 5 of them, of 10, that are natural for you. And of the 5, maybe there are 2 or 3 that you are epic at. Then there are these extra 5 that you have to work on. You will now ask yourself and distribute, of the 5, how many do I have to have personally, and how many can I outsource? So if you can outsource some in the sense of a business, for example, then go ahead and outsource that. But the ones that are connected directly to your leadership, then you start to work on that. That's the growth mindset. Do you see? That's a growth mindset, and it's going to lead you into a significant life. It's going to lead you into a significant life. Let me tell you the final secret here that I find. I will share with you. There is usually an unspoken, how do I say this? If you don't have a growth mindset, if you have learned helplessness, you will permanently be bouncing off. How do I say this to you? If you don't have a growth mindset, you have learned helplessness, personal development efforts will never help you. And you see why in my conversations, I'm not even talking to you a lot about it. I want you to go and read this book. I want you to wake up every day 4 a.m. Wake up 4 a.m. Got to G faced. Just be quiet. Put your two hand on your chest like me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Then now he hail and hazel. You see, when I have that conversation, I'm not talking to you about waking up at 4 or 5 and exercising for 1 hour, listening to one podcast for 30 minutes, journaling for 30 minutes. I'm not talking to you about do's and don'ts because self knowledge and self mastery will regulate you. And self mastery and self knowledge will also teach you about seasons, right? You're not a robot. You were never wired to be a robot. You are a self governed force. Do you know what it means to have a government? Governments have annual budgets, annual reviews. Governments have legislative orders, judiciary frameworks, executive mandates. Governments have allocations. Do you understand this? So the dominion mandates that you receive is a mandate on government, and it begins with self-government. So I'm not a motivational speaker, and I'm not trying to legislate what I googled to you. Do you understand? You're a self-governed force on the earth. The more you know who you are and whose you are, the more you will be self-regulated. So why would I tell you to wake up at 4 a.m. when 4 a.m. is when I go to bed many mornings? And when I get back up, I'm not going to feel like, oh my God, people are already working. Because, well, when they were sleeping and Spittle was entering into here, I was up doing some good stuff, right? And I'm not saying those who were sleeping at the time were doing something wrong. They also did their own good work, you know. So listen to me. This is what I'm saying to you. If you don't have a growth mindset, all your investment in books, seminars, webinars, coaching courses, even hiring a one-on-one coach will continue to be wasted because learned helplessness bounces off and bounces back wisdom. It always filters it because it's always going to be like, you don't know what I've been through. You think it's easy like that? She just so you can even be listening to me and you're sniggering inside you. They've come, governed force. Do you know what people are going through? You are in learned helplessness, so that you can't hear me, and it's time to go to bed. You should actually just leave this broadcast. Do you understand? Then come back to it later and stream it little by little, little by little, gradually. You're more come up. Do you understand this? So growth mindset is a miracle. Growth mindset is what makes the difference between two people hearing the same thing. Growth mindset embraces knowledge because it says, oh, okay, tell me more about that. Okay, how can that be done? Okay, I'm going to try that out. Okay, can you recommend what I should read? I see. Okay, let me explore that. Gosh, I'm so scared, but I can try. That's growth mindset. That's growth mindset. Learned helplessness is like, tell me about it. It can't work. It's not me that I'm telling you. Will you know me more than me? Is this the first time? No, that's not. It's not. Look, I know what I'm telling you, and they will count the number of coaches they've been with. So that's why I do a lot of interviews before people can even get into one-on-ones or masterminds with me because you just even want to see where they are, or else they will get in and they will become a pain in your neck. No matter the hard work you put in, they will mention the other coaches they've been with. Was I not with Coach Moji Adekwetu before? Even Coach Jane Oluwadare, she was with me 6 months. Well, it's not today now. I'm not the first. Coach Tomi Balogun, she was my coach. Even she took me like this, took me to Cairo. She was working on me, but continue to work because what I'm going through is deep. It will never work. So they will spoil markets. They will spoil market. They will be like, yeah, all of them. They just wear big goggles. They be talking, running. But it's not a rock. The thing is working. Onjebi aje, and I have to stop this thing and stay straight. Okay, so I am going to run out of growth mindset onto high super power leverage. High superpower leverage. Guys, stop laughing. Let's be serious. We want to go to bed. very, very shortly. Okay. Um, so high superpower leverage is obviously the flip of low superpower leverage. Okay. And it's simply the culture of looking at where you are extremely graced, right? Where you are extremely blessed, where you've got um, you've got a great strength, you've got an amazing gifting, and you can really use that to move things forward. Do you see? It is the leveraging of your superpower that actually gives you mileage. And I'm going to try to explain that to you. It's when you leverage your superpower that you have mileage because, ha, whew, when you leverage your superpower and you push, you will be applying a super pressure on what you're pushing. And what you're because you're using your superpower, you will be getting an exponential dimension of results because for you that thing is a superpower. How do I really explain this in a way that you get it? So if there's a ball and a little boy pushes that ball is going to roll to a certain degree, right? So when you use your superpower, no, that's when you have mileage. When you leverage your superpower, you have mileage. So I'm going to write that out for you. Leverage your superpower. You have mileage. That's what I mean. Okay. And I'm going to show you that right away. Do you see? When you leverage your superpower, you have mileage. You cover ground, more ground than if you were just doing regular. If you were just working with your average giftings and your average skills. And we will also have to use our average giftings and skills, what we're good at, but what we're not extraordinary at. That's nice. That's okay. But you've got to learn how to leverage, how to put the pressure on your superpower. So when a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old kicks a ball, it's going to move at a certain pace to a certain distance, right? If a 36-year-old or 26-year-old footballer. I don't know what they are, maybe world championship, whatever that is called. My husband is going to be so embarrassed if I just said world championship for football and I was wrong. So please forgive me. He's going to be so embarrassed because he tries to teach me football and I pretend like, I got it. We're here together. I try to remember the names of the footballers, but it doesn't enter, so it doesn't really stay. It has to enter to stay. So if a 26-year-old footballer, professional footballer, in our club, Arsenal, our club, hits that ball is going to travel madly, swiftly, cover ground with energy, right? Very, very radically, that ball is going to move. Same ball kicked, same ball kicked. But somebody is leveraging superpower. He's a footballer. He's trained. He's got strength. He's got stamina. He's got skill, right? He is a master at this thing. Do you understand that? So that's what it is. There are things that you are like a 4-year-old at. There are things that you are like a 15-year-old at. And the things that you are a 30-year-old world champion record holder at. Whenever you apply what you have that you are a champion at to a project, to a thing, boom, you give it mileage, it moves. And I'm going to give you a simple example. I'm not, so I'm going to use the example of the Liverpool conference, planning the Liverpool conference, right? It's not my strength to necessarily sit into the everyday detail of the project breakdown. Okay, today do this, tomorrow do that. But I've got a project manager and I've got a project team and I've got administrators who are tracking the progress, breaking down the performance criteria, ensuring everybody has their side covered, right? But my superpowers, number one, I can sell a dream. I can sell a future. I can sell an ideology. I can sell a belief system, right? I can do that. And I sell it without seeming like I'm selling because I'm not selling. So I will show up every day and I will demonstrate my conviction with the power of words, knowing that I can trust that it will travel on the wings of angelic media. And those who must hear me will hear the sound of those words and they will gravitate in my direction. I don't have a marketing, I don't necessarily have a marketing strategy in terms of, all the nice ideas for how to do this, how to funnel that. I don't. But I can sell a vision. I can sell a future dream. I can sell a possibility. You would read it and it would be graphic in your spirit. I can do that. Number two, I have an energy force field that pulls in the caliber of people that I want to pull in. And there's a secret there. The secret, let me just give it to you free of charge. Don't worry about it. I got you. It's love. Love is the strategy that expands your force field and attracts qualitative people, the kind you really desire. There's love in my heart. I'm not trying to use them. You see, I'm not trying to enrich myself or promote myself and say, I must bring this. No, no, no. I genuinely love my continent. I genuinely love the people I'm sent to. And I genuinely love the people that I'm reaching out to partner with me. Do you see? And so if they say no, it's okay too. But what I'm saying is, I've got that gift. So I am the one who was at the forefront of getting all the speakers. Nobody can do that for me. Nobody can type that email. Nobody can have that conversation. I'm the one who needs to get on that call and do the impossible work. And despite all the obstacles of, oh, it takes a year to book this person in, nope. Even the person who is putting the obstacle, they will break the obstacles when I finish talking to them. That's my superpower. If I want to bring, I probably should bring her, and I'm not even going to mention her name. But if I want to bring anybody, if I want to bring I believe it. It's also I have to faith and dream about and cry and confess. If I want to bring a president of a country to speak to people I love, they're going to come. They are going to come. And they will see it as their privilege. They will come. Yeah. And I have in my network, no, that's not the person. No, I don't want to bring it to her. But they are going to see and I have it existing in my network. Very powerful alliances. People wonder all the time, like how did you meet this person? And I don't have to announce it because I am not trying to meet them to promote myself. But that's my superpower. It comes naturally to me. So when I insist on it and I use it, boom, doors will fling open. I'm telling you. And I can't even start to share with you the access that I've received. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to, come visit, to pay tickets, on first class, to and fro, just to visit and spend time with you. Okay, let's do this. I'm coming over, but what did you see? Do you understand this? So, yeah, that's a superpower for me. That's a superpower for me. Resilience is also a superpower. I don't back off because the going gets tough. I don't back up because the numbers are not looking like it. I don't back up. I'm super resilient. I'm super stubborn. When I want something, I don't unwant it. When I see something, I don't unsee it. When I receive something, I don't repel it. I don't turn my back. Nope. Who's going where? It's the doors that will be tired. They will open. Especially because I act as led. I'm a visionary. I see that future and I cause it, I pull it in. Do you see? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I don't hate what I like. If I like it, I'm going to be there. Do you see? So I use my superpower in my team, on my projects. That's where I'm strong. So when I kick a ball with my superpower, it flies. It gives me mileage. Do you see? So that's the best way I would be able to describe it to you. There's something called the Cliftings, and I'm writing out for you now. The Cliftings Strength Finder, which I want to just challenge you to go check out. It's definitely um, it's definitely a very it changed my life. It helped me so much. I'm always thankful for it. Always thankful for it. I was on a scholarship to the University of Minnesota, the Humphreys School of Public Administration. And while we were there, we were made to take this particular assessment. You pay for it on Amazon, it's delivered to you, and then you run it. It's so good. It's so good. We're made to take it. And I remember how um, one of the classmates was making a joke, because he said I always sounded so confident, so sure of myself. I always sounded like I was very bold and I knew how strong I was and all of that. And it's not always the same way inside. Sometimes you're fidgety on the inside, but you show up. Do you see? Because showing up is showing up. Showing up is showing up. Sometimes you don't feel like it, but you show up and you sound the part, right? Yeah, and that's okay. So he said he was making a joke and said, "Oh, DDK doesn't need to take this inventory because she knows all her strengths and she's really leveraging it. She's really leveraging it." I was the one who was getting offers to. I was receiving investment funding without presenting proposals because that's my superpower. I told you guys I can sell a dream. I can sell a future. So while people were having proposals and trying to talk to funders, in the program while we're in the US, I was just always like asking them questions that I know enter their soul. I'll be like, "Are you really interested in Africa? Or you just want to impress us?" They'll be like, "I'm so interested in Africa. If you're interested in Africa, tell me what you know about so and so crisis on the continent." They say they don't know. I'll say, "Then you're not interested." But it's not too late. There's something I've been working on, and I believe you might get an opportunity if I really see your interest to partner with us. And by the time we're done in the evening, they're giving me their private email address, private phone number. Whereas people will be queuing to try to give proposals, and they're too obvious, they're too desperate. So yeah, it's when God gives you a gift, it's a gift from God. What you do with it and how you leverage it is your gift back to God. And that's what I'm basically doing, guys. So that's about high superpower leverage. I want you to go take the Clifton's Strength Inventory, Strength Finder. I want you to go find it and do it. Please make that investment. It's going to tell you who you are in a powerful, compelling, accurate way. And you can now take what it says to you and you start to say, "Okay, I'm going to leverage this, my superpower. I will be a high leverager of my superpower." It's really good. It's really good. And I'm going to believe in you for sure with that. Okay? We have not done badly today. I'm proud of you. We are on the final for today, which is the fifth. And it's about how to flip habitual mediocrity onto systematic success. And this one, I can't really sell it to you. Like I can't sell it. It's not play play, and I don't want to talk too much about it. I want you to go and read um, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I recommended that in the first part of this webinar, and I'm going to be leaving you with that. I see Ejiro crying. Ejiro, don't cry. What is happening is if we go beyond, we've done 2 hours plus now. If we try to go to all the 10, we will be on for 3, 4 hours. People are going to be saturated and they're not going to take what you need to take. So we will be back Don't worry, after leave our conference, we'll definitely be back. Okay? Um, so I got you. I got you. Systematic success. Let me tell you what it is until that one happens in your life. You'll be seeing results, but they'll be doing what is called daku daji. Can someone give it to me in English? What that means? Systematic success. I'm writing out for you so that you can have it. So that's it. Fifth signpost of a significant life, systematic success. Yeah, yeah. And people are giving it to me. I said Dakudaji. Adenike said that would be epileptic, right? Somebody else says tripping off. Somebody else says faint and wake. Ejiro. Ejiro, why are you like this? Right? So you flip habitual mediocrity to systematic success. And somebody is asking about what the name of the book is. Carol, it is Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's the book I'm heartily recommending to you, and I'm putting it up now. So, Atomic Habits by James Clear is going to change your life. It changed my life. It changed my life. I'd read it in soft copy. When I got in hard copy, I was holding it to my chest. I was like, no way. What is this? It's really, really powerful. Atomic Habits will change your life until you systemize your success. And I'm going to break it down a bit. You are going to be having, until you create systems, habit systems or systems of habits in your life, you are going to be experiencing epileptic type of progress. And epileptic progress is very annoying because you move three forward, five backwards, seven forward, six backwards. So much so that there will be a lot of motion, but there will be no true movement. And you will find at the end of the year that it's almost like being seated on a rocking chair. It looks like there's motion, but it's not going anywhere. And that's what's happened with a lot of people. They'll say, okay, 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 I've heard. This thing I tell you, did it. I'm not joking again. I will start to do this I will start to work on this then they fall off the bandwagon. And then they go to a conference, they cry, he will pinch their soul. They say, from now I will not do this again. And they try for a bit and they go back until you know. And you see, the reason it's important to read the book is because you think that creating habits is about doing something repeatedly, again and again. No, that's not just what it's about. It's about tricking your subconscious programming and your mind to always want to do something whenever a trigger, a cue is recognized, right? Oh, Carol, let's celebrate her. You are welcome. You are welcome to Immerse in a Circle. Gosh, we are so excited to welcome you. Thank you for coming on board. I can't wait to serve you, and I can't wait for you to experience all the great things that we have for you. So welcome. So good to have you on board, and we'll be in touch in the days ahead with a lot of great details about the membership and how you can thrive. Someone said Dakudaji is die and resurrect only and often. My God, what is going on here? What did I miss? Where did I meet you guys? Ah, only and often. Okay, I have my guides welcoming you. They are like, you are really welcome. They're so excited to have you. We welcome you. See, so much love for you, Carol. They are welcoming you to the Immerse in a Circle. You're definitely welcome. Very excited to welcome you. And Carol says, thanks. Okay, so if you don't create this system of habits in your life, and it's a science, stop trying to do it on your own. It's not just, I will wake up, this is my resolution. Nobody can stop any force that didn't want me to. No, 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 guys, that's not what we're doing here. Um, you have to learn the science of habits. There's a whole science to how habits work. And the moment you're able to use it, it's going to favor you and it's going to help you create the system that you require to make success a habit, to make it repeatable, and to make it predictable. Making your goals and your transformational quest into habits is what is really going to transform your life. Whoever you want to become, whatever you want to do, however you want to rise, until you are able to break that big goal, that big desire, into smaller action steps that you can practice on a daily basis till you step into what is called automaticity. Automaticity is when you don't need to think to do it till you step into automaticity. Until you step into automaticity with the important goals that you want to achieve in your life, you are not going to be able to really um, experience epic shifts, which is what the Live Out With Conference is about. And if you'd love to register for the Live Out With Conference, it's scrolling on your screen. I'm going to give you an example of the power of automaticity in my own life. I used to shout at my children a lot when they were still two, before the third madam joined them. So I used to shout a lot. I used to lose my cool and scream. Do you see? But I said, that's not who I want to be. That's not how a lady is. That's not how that's not how a queen mother is, That's not how a woman of God is. And I just said, no, I'm not going to be that person again. I don't want to be a screaming person again. So I started to use their irritation or the things they do that irritates me, upset me, as the key to a new behavior. I used when they are being annoying as the very psychological cue. And until you read the book, you won't understand what cues are about. But for everything you do repeatedly, there's something that cues you. And the moment your subconscious mind receives that cue, that trigger that says, okay, go for it, you're going to respond. There will always be a cue, there'll be a response. And you can practice what you choose to be your cue. So much that if you make waking up your cue for praying in tongues for 15 minutes, you can practice it every day for a while till you shift into automaticity that the moment you wake up, your subconscious mind goes off with the alarm that it's time to pray and you won't have to think about it, you do it. There's a science to habits. So I used their screaming, they're crying, they're trying to throw tantrums as my cue. And what I simply said to myself is, how did I do it? I said, noise is never the response to noise. Do you see? Noise is never the response to noise. Negative energy is never the response to negative energy. So if you use negative energy in the face of negative energy, you create a combustion of negative energy. So whenever there is negative energy from your children, whenever there is noise, tantrums from them, that's your cue to immediately switch to be calm and to speak quieter, to drop the volume so that you regulate them unconsciously to also drop their volume, right? So in the beginning, I used to have it as alarms on my phone to remind me. I started from hourly, I moved it to 3 hourly, but the alarms always come up to drop my voice tone and to be calm and patient when there is noise, because noise is never the response to noise. Negative energy is never the response to negative energy. So when my daughter would throw a tantrum, be like, "Mommy, she beat me," I would just be like, "You have to be calm, and then tell me how you're feeling about this. You just have to calm down." Or if they're doing something I don't want and they're jumping, I'll just calmly say, "You have to stop jumping, actually. You have to stop jumping. Why are you jumping? You're going to hurt yourself." And I will insist speaking like that. It changed my life. It changed my life so much that my husband now gets angry about it because he'll be like, "Why you see the way you're calm?" And he's a calmer person by nature. But if anybody's losing their cool, you can't see me lose my cool. I'll just be like, "You actually have to stop doing that." right? You have to stop doing that. You know, you shouldn't do that. That's not who you are. And my God, the thing is magical. It's magical. My daughter immediately, the youngest one, because the older ones have now gotten it, actually. They've gotten it. The moment I say, that music is loud, actually. Oh, mom, sorry. Please reduce it, mom. And they will talk in lower tones. Or if they're trying to have a conversation with me and it's getting, they are trying to have an argument to themselves. No, I'm the first person that said, when I just say, okay, I want to listen to you, but there's a way you have to sound so that I can hear you. They are going to immediately lower their voice as well. Okay, mom, okay, let me explain myself. And then the younger one is also gradually getting it. Because if she raises her voice, mommy, you did not give me, I'll be like, but I can't hear you when you're screaming. So you have to calm down. I love it so much because that's not who I used to be. But it's now automaticity. It's now automaticity. And if you're not listening, I'll bring out the superpower. I have it everywhere. You know those long, you know what I'm talking about. I have it everywhere. They're not listening. That one is even calmer than me. He doesn't talk. He just does the job. So they know. When mommy has said it twice, her voice is calm. And I don't raise my voice and I don't change my face. I don't there's no need to frown. I'll just bring out the calmer person, you know, and the calmer person will now finish the work. Do you see? So I love it. I love how it's changed my life. So I believe it works 100% of the time. A portion of my spirituality is cued. It's cued and it's become habitual. When I step into the car, I would always turn on either worship or audio Bible. And when I turn it on, I will start to pray in tongues under my breath. It's cute. I will do it. And that's how I log in time. That's how I log in time all day. It's really good. Okay, so that's where I am going to stop tonight. I've had such a great time with you guys. So tell me what stands out for you, and we will close this. Ah, Mutrayo. That means you don't know me. I use the rod. I use the rod. The rod is important. Yeah, yeah, it's important. I use the rod. So tell me what stands out for you today. How has this experience been for you today? I've had a great, 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 great time. I really love you guys. I really love you guys. I have respect for people that are hungry and humble enough to learn. Hunger and humility, it always works. So I do love you guys very much, and I'm super proud of you. Very, very proud of you. I've missed you. Yes, Diola, I have so missed you. Believe me. What? What? My publisher is even here. Mr. Oyele, very excited to have you on board this evening, sir. Um, oh, thank you so much for being on board, sir. A real blessing. Okay, so it's been great. Someone said it's been that she's had a great time. Happy for you. Somebody said, Muji said it's been catalytic for her. Uh, so good. I love it. Thank you so much. So, of all the five we looked at today, the signposts, we looked at self knowledge and self mastery. We looked at possibility conviction. We looked at growth mindset, high superpower leverage, and systematic success. So, which stood out the most for you tonight? Which are you going to go work with and run with? What's it going to be for you? Moji says actions. She would read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and she's also going to take the Clifton Strengths Finder assessment. Very good. Good job. Ejiro says she's going with systematic success. Epileptic progress is not a good experience. So you want to build the systems you need to maintain success continually. Bukola says this parenting tip is her biggest take home for the night, very practical. So happy to know that. Tomisa says it was insightful and refreshing. My very beloved friend says that tonight was good, refreshing, and an opportunity to rethink some things. Nana says it will be systematic success for her. Ido says it will be systematic success as well. Um, Odetola Ebolua says growth mindset and possibility conviction definitely stood out for her. Okay, Bumi is going to be retaking the Clifting strength, which is good. Self mastery for Okola Okola. So good. Olua Kemi Boyefakule says she's going to be working on growth mindsets. I love you very much. Marianne says it's systematic success. Omolara says, possibility conviction. You need to do that exercise and know where to improve. Good job. Tara says, the pre webinar gist was for me. Yes, yes. When we just started off talking about if you are multi gifted, how do you steward that responsibly? I love it. Adeleke Goodness, Adetoku says, to always have a good mindset and avoid learned hopelessness. I love it. Point five really stood out for me, systematic success. That is my Ewoma, a whole minstrel worldwide. We honor you, back. Okay, let me see. Adela says it's self mastery and systematic success. So good. Sarah says systematic success stood up for her. You would need to read the book and take the assessment. I'm happy to hear that. Growth mindset for Grace Pro Media, which she says it's been really enlightening, systematic success for her, and she got the book already. Musumola says self-knowledge is definitely her biggest take home. Omobolaji's self-knowledge is a canvas in which you paint your dreams, and true spirituality elevates your faith. Your faith is all about possibilities. I love it. Anu says the systematic success. It's been great. Olufunke says the parenting tip, is it for her? No more chest pain. Amen. Okay, Ewoma, always a joy to see you, just rise and shine. I'm so proud of you. I must let you know that. Well done on all the great things you're doing. Ebu says possibility conviction and high superpower leverage stood out for her. Guys, it's been an extraordinary evening with you. I love you very much. I can't wait to welcome you to the Mercina Circle if you're not with us yet. I can't wait to see you at the Liverwood Conference if you're not with us yet. I can't wait to see you, buy up our flagship courses, including Unbundling 2020, which you can find on our website, immersinacircle.com. Okay, I will be with you next week or upper week. I'm starting my retreat from Sunday immediately after the Liverwood Conference, and I'm away, but hopefully, like I did when I was in Kigali, I might be able to throw in just a nice evening for you guys and we can cover the remaining 5. Well done. So proud of you, and it's been a great time enjoying this evening with you. I'll see you on Friday at the Liverwood Conference. Take care, and remember that to transform your life, all you have to do is to transform your mind. Okay? Good night.